Hello, everybody. This is Will Bird joining us for our conversation about open houses. We are going to be diving in pretty deep on what we should do to make sure that as we're trying to generate opportunities, we are finding the right avenues. Because the open house is a dynamic and principal point of real estate. Showing homes to real or to clients is our primary business. So if we could allow for other opportunities, such as people driving by, people that may have received some correspondence to come to that open house, it would make sense to be able to gain clients. But a lot of agents have retracted away from open houses as the industry has changed, and especially as the market has changed, because the concept is, or the thought process is that open houses don't work. Well, I will tell you something that they will not work if you don't put the time and diligence into them. And this takes down to the fact of planning, organizing, and scheduling the right time frame for when these things happen. Now, what does that mean? Well, let's put it down to simple tactics. If on a Saturday afternoon you decide to do an open house on a Sunday, you're probably not going to have that much attendance because all you're doing is putting out a few signs. Traditionally, those signs are at about knee level, and the downside to knee level signs is that nobody's going to see them. Now, you can add variables to this. You can do things like balloons that may add a little attraction to it. But the truth of the matter is that you're not going to see a tremendous amount of traffic on an open house that's going to just have signs put out. This is why it is so imperative that you're taking time and energy to schedule that open house. Now, some people do open homes at a very high level. They'll set up entire events, things like food trucks, things like actual bounce houses, or actual events happening at the open house in order to gain a lot of traffic. You also have to designate what kind of audience you're trying to get. Are you looking purely for buyers? Are you looking for realtors to come by and bring their buyers? What is the intention of the open house? So there's a couple questions that you have to ask in advance. Number one is, when are you going to have that open house? Number two is who you're going to go after. Number three is going to be all the questions that are going to arise from number two. So if you are aiming for realtors, you need to know the right days. Many boards or MLSs actually have realtor tour days for specific areas. If you are doing it for a client base, then you need to identify when you're actually going to set that up. And as you can tell, we're live on tape and people keep running up and down behind me. But what it comes down to is knowing that all those things kind of focus in together. So setting up the open house. How do we plan for it? Once you have a date laid out, make sure you give yourself about a week to 2 weeks, if not even further out than that, to make sure that you can organize. So make sure you're getting things like flyers out to the neighborhood so they know that they can attend. Bringing up status like you can choose your own neighbors or you can invite your friends to your neighborhood. This is a great avenue. Also, finding rental homes that may be in the area and making sure that you can say something to the effect of, hey, would you like to move directly into this area or buy a home in this area that you are renting? There's lots of different ways that you can approach this, but setting up that time to coordinate is going to be ideal because you have to have people that are looking and that are approaching that feeling. Now, other side of the equation comes down to, once you have an open house, what do you need to do? So I love this resource, and I'm going to show it to you real quick. This is a all right, so this resource. So this is a breakthrough broker. Now, this is a free account. You can get a plus account that gives you some extra features. But I just simply went to the main page, typed in open house. Now, there's a lot of resources out there. This is just a kind of a cool resource that has a lot of things all in one spot. So in this is going to have things like I love this one, kids coloring sheet, right? One thing about open houses, as I've done these for years and years, every weekend I was doing open houses. Well, sometimes they can get really boring, they can get really exciting, but the truth is that when a client comes in, you want to have complete focus with the client. Well, unfortunately, lots of clients come in with kids, and when they come with the kids, you have to identify the fact that those kids need to have something to do. A kid's coloring sheet, have some grounds, have some details. It's a great resource to kind of connect those kids with giving them something to do while you're actually working. Now, I know everything is kind of digital age today, so maybe finding other avenues. You can find nice, inexpensive Android tablets for $40 or $50. Maybe having 2 or 3 of those so you can hand them to the kids to let them play in a digital environment. I haven't gone this route because I think that, having the plain old Jane of a coloring, people still like to color, but also collecting the information. Now, this is another place that you could have a digital environment. Many CRMs today will have sign-in sheets for open houses that you can put in a digital environment, maybe an iPad, or you can have them on an Android tablet as well. This is a great resource to grab the information immediately, and it also gives you a chance to somewhat validate the information that they're giving, because you can confirm immediately through a text or an email to make sure that that count is active. These are great tools to be able to know that you're talking to somebody specifically. Now, on top of that, the other side of the equation comes into making sure that you're providing enough information back out. So, going back a couple of years, there were places that would ask for things like foreclosure list or list of homes in general. Because of the environment of the market we're dealing with right now, a great place that you can find to give you information out to clients is, say, give a list of coming soon listings. Now, what this means is that you're offering something that is only allocatable to a realtor. So a client doesn't have access to that without having a real estate agent. So these are all environments that you can provide value by getting that information. So you can say something like, I will provide you with coming soon listings. All I need is a name and an email. That way I can provide that information. These are all little things that you can retain clients at an open house. Now, what if an agent shows up with their client at an open house? Remember, be cautious about tracking them down or following them around. Be providing of information. Offer information to the agent, offer information to the client through the agent. So you make sure that you keep that rapport and that you encourage agents to come to that listing and that open house as well. A lot of people are using open houses in the current environment to be your first staging effect of presentation of that home. So this is a great tool and resource to be able to present that house in its full effect, meaning that instead of scheduling showings right after it goes active, holding those showings till you have a bunch coordinated around the open house. So this is a great way to overlap showings and create a sense of urgency when bringing a house onto market and hopefully presenting as many offers as you possibly can. My point to all of this is, if you take some time, if you take some energy, you can really make a value add come from creating and using open houses. Now, this is not going to be a tremendous amount of expense for you. You could print out a sheet at most of your local Kinkos for a couple cents a piece and just have them fill it out. You don't have to go buy an Android or a iPad to do that digital sign on. You could have your computer open or your iPad open just so they can fill it out there. There are a lot of ways that you can approach the same principle of gathering the information from as many people as possible and trying to create client relationships with those people. Guys, if you're a new agent in the business or if you're a seasoned agent in the business, open houses are still going to be beneficial for you. To this day, we're still doing open houses on my listings. Now, that brings me to my last point that I want to address is that what if you don't have listings to do open houses with? I will guarantee that if you reach out to other agents that are high listing agents in your brokerage, they will be willing to allow you to do those open houses, to hold them open over periodic time. Now, you have to approach the agent with the correct verbiage. One, don't tell them that you're going to do it this weekend when it's Friday. Try and set up that same thing, that timetable, to allow them to give enough time to their client and to make sure that it's going to be successful for them as well. If you show their house 20 or 30 times over the weekend through an open house, that's beneficial to them, that's beneficial to their client. So approach them the right way. Also, sometimes you can offer things like referral basis back if any clients come out of that, if they're really holding tight to those listings, because many people are doing right now. All these things come down to ask questions. Ask people questions that may be in the business a little longer, and be cautious of those naysayers that say things like open houses don't work, because guess what? For the entire time that I've been in the business and much before that, people have been doing open houses and had great success with them. If they plan, and if they coordinate correctly. Guys, thanks for joining in. Thanks for joining. If you have any questions or concerns, please reach out to me direct. I'd be happy to go over a direct analysis with you specifically on how you can be successful using open houses in your business technique. And one last thing I'll leave you with is an open house might cost you 2 or 3 hours of invested time, but the value added is tremendous. Thank you, guys. Have a great day.